I'd like to call to order the regularly scheduled board meeting of the Paris Union School District number 95 Board of Education for October 9th, 2018. Let the record show that all members are present except for Member Sanchez and Member Mathis. Voting sequence for this meeting is as follows: Tuttle, Bailey, Iowa, Isaac, and Nopal. We'll start out with audience to visitors.
Well, we're happy to have everyone with us. If you'd like to send one, let us know.
Thank everybody for coming. With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion?
Yeah, I want to say that within the ed fund, we are 3% below at this time of the year. We're at the 25% mark. We're 3% below budget, so that's great, Nancy. So please make that in the paper. Our operations and maintenance is 4% below. So I'm pretty excited about some of these numbers. Our tort fund is higher, but we always pay out all the insurance at the beginning of the year for the premiums. So we don't pay those monthly.
Any further questions or discussion? If not, please respond. Tuttle.
Yes.
Bailey. Iowa.
Yes.
Isaac.
Yes.
Nopal is yes. And with that, Secretary's report, since the Secretary's not here. Doing double duty, I guess. With deep appreciation, thank you so much for the beautiful flowers. Your kindness meant so much to us. For Geneva Wetzel, Edgewater, Florida, it's the Steve Idle family, so thank you.
Thank you.
And there's one more card that I set on head and nervous.
You can read it all?
No, it's okay.
Okay, and we have another thank you. Thank you for adding a sixth section of kindergarten. We greatly appreciate your help. Signed, all of the kindergarten teachers: Emily Vaughn, Jamie Kierlock, Caitlin Temples, Taylor Redmond, Cheryl Emberton, Ann Kirby, and Michelle Cook. You're welcome.
And Mr. Larson, I know I'm Miss Audience Visitor, so can I talk about that just briefly?
By all means.
Since the last time we were together, we added that sixth section of kindergarten, and it went very smoothly. The teachers and I met shortly after the board meeting to discuss student movement and which students would be moved, and we talked about, we looked at academics, we looked at behaviors, we looked at the students who we thought could handle the transition, and all of the parents were positive and on board, and it just went very, very smoothly to add that classroom. So the kindergarten team pitched in and helped Mrs. Kirby get set up. They helped with the students. We had an open house the Monday night before we opened the classroom, so the parents could come in and see the classroom, meet the teacher, and it worked out very well. So thanks to the team and thanks to you for allowing that.
How come you had to do that, Gary? How many did you get that all at once you needed a sixth section?
We had 21 and 22 students in our rooms, and so we decided that number was
Getting high for kindergarten.
So what are they now?
16, 17.
32.
Okay.
18.
I have 18.
Yeah. We do our best.
And who's Mrs. Kirby?
Ann Kirby.
Oh, okay, I
She
knew
was-
that, all right, yeah. One of the twins, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Donis.
So with that, I'd also like to thank our kindergarten team for, I know they was there on a Saturday, spent most of the day on a Saturday putting it together. I'd seen a picture of it, and it was kind of good news for some of us with everything going on at that time, to see some people there having fun and putting in extra effort for us, so we definitely appreciate it. Anything else? If not, we'll move to the superintendent's agenda.
Okay, the first thing on our agenda tonight is Principal Appreciation Month. And so I just want to make sure to let our principals know how much we appreciate them. And so October is Principal Appreciation Month. The Paris Community, Family, and School System recognize the value of strong leadership. And we want to take this time, this month, just to recognize all of the time commitment and care that you put into our schools. We want to publicly say thank you for all that you do. We'll leave all the fun little surprises for October 16th when that day rolls around, which is Bosses Day, so we'll make sure to thank them at that time. But we just want to publicly say thank you and we support you. So thank you. So,
Thank you.
at this time, we have our audit presentation. Casey McGee is present from Larson Woodward Henson to present. I just want to remind everyone why we went with a different auditor this year. Anna Collier is retiring. Since Anna Collier is retiring, we decided to go ahead and go with a different company. Just have a new set of eyes that are fresh. You want to invite Patty to come on. So there's a new set of eyes on there.
To the left.
Yep, there's lots of different rooms for growth. So I want to go through some of the areas that Casey and I are going to continue to work on. So like, for example, we had a finding that we don't have a CPA on staff. That's not something that we're going to be able to correct within the next year. But there are other things, like for example, having better controls over our cash disbursements, making sure that we do a better job of reconciliation, making sure that we do a better job identifying our TRS contributions. We want to work on our journal entries together. We're going to continue to work on lunch applications and then also coding expenses. So those are a few of the things that we really want to work on together. That is why I would like to, and I'm recommending to the Board of Education this evening, not only to accept the audit as is, but also for us to continue working together. So I just think it's important that in the transition of our bookkeeper, we have someone that we can work on. You will notice in the agreement there is not a set dollar amount that we're agreeing to in a contract tonight. We're basically saying we're going to continue to engage with you. Then it's like fee per service. So we would contact them and do check-ins with them so that we can continue to do better. Am I accurately saying all
That is
this?
correct, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to introduce Casey at this time, and she will talk about our audit. I'll tell you she's meticulous. So.
Hi, I'm Casey McGee. I'm the audit manager at Larson Woodward Henson. I work out of the Tuscola office, but our main office is just down the block here in Paris. We issued a clean, unqualified opinion for the audit this year.
Nancy.
I got it.
On. Just making sure I can write your newspaper for you this week on this one, okay?
Overall, the district is doing a very good job. Most of the items are being done correctly. There's just a few little things to work on, which Jeremy's already talked about, and we're happy to continue working with you on an as-needed basis to continue getting that corrected. We really appreciate working with clients who want to do better and actively want their financial statements to be as good as they can be. And the administration here has really demonstrated that they care and they want everything to be correct. It really makes it a joy to work with you.
Thank you.
Beyond that, the district had an excess of revenues over expenditures of $882,000 this past year, which you'll see on page 8 in your audit. The district's profile score was also 3.7 again this year. That's the same score it was last year, and that's the highest category rating that you can get on your AFR for the district. The cash on hand also increased this year, which is great. That's very difficult for schools to do. You went from 151 days last year to 169 days on hand this year.
Okay. Thank you.
What was that?
We went from 151 to 169 days cash on hand. So let me summarize. We're doing a great job. She works with a meticulous superintendent who said he wanted to do better. We identified 8 different areas that we want to work on together. I'll name those off again. We want to work on a better reconciliation. So the problem, and I'm going to get real specific, the thing is like, there are so few people in our office, it's double checking and it's having documentation every time a decision is made. And so like last year, one of the things we did was we turned some things electronic, so we were constantly like putting it on the computer and then I would go in and hit approve. Just because we're such a small office, sometimes some of those things get overlooked. So that's what we mean when we say controls, just making sure that things are not only, because I can say, well, I told Anna to do that, or that's how it's supposed to be. They'll say, but where's your documentation to prove that? And so that's one of the things we'll continue to work on, which is really important to me as a superintendent, because when I roll someone new into that position, I want to make sure they're trained doing it the right way. That's why it's important for me to engage with them and continue on. Like our journal entries, there are certain times where you say, listen, that wasn't taken out of the right account, it needs to come out of this account, and someone put the wrong account number on there. Well, we'll go through it, Anna and I sit down next to each other. I need to make sure I'm initialing every single one of those every time we do it. So we initial on the regular piece of paper, like that is like the order, but then let's say that there was a mistake made, and then we go back and correct it. You have to initial on every single one of those. Lunch applications. Lunch applications is one that we've really struggled with now for a while. And I just recently had Andrea Gregory from the Illinois State Board of Education come in, sit down with us, and review our lunch applications, because I'm frustrated that we keep having issues with that. And I had all the different secretaries come in, and you feel free to call Andrea Gregory at the Illinois State Board of Education. I asked her to come in and do an audit of our district on her own of what we currently have. Realized Casey did last year, so Andrea is doing this year when she checked. And Andrea said that we are in perfect condition as of right now. I will continue to call her and have her keep monitoring with us, so that way we can correct that lunch application finding. What the lunch application finding is there are error prone. So for example, if you're within a certain threshold, you have to go back, ask the parent, and let's say we ask the parent, you have to prove the documentation that you sent the letter multiple times, right, Casey? So it's not like I can just call the parent and say, hey, you know, what's going on here? I have to have all this handwritten documentation proving it, so that's something we're trying to get better at when it comes to lunch applications. One of the things I want to just kind of expound upon in regards to that, you have to remember lunch applications are for our families that are free and reduced. And so it becomes very difficult when you start prying people's expenses. And so that's one of the things that people are just have to learn to get over that. And so it's a kind of a personal matter. So Casey did I. And then also, just to summarize again, we're recognition status, which is the highest status that you can have at the level. Our cash on hands went up. We were over $800,000 in the positive. But I'm not a foolish superintendent. There are things that we can correct, and that's why I want to engage. We're not a perfect district by any means. And we're not 100% fiscally where I would necessarily want to see us, but we're definitely in the right direction.
Yes, you are.
Would you agree?
I agree.
So, is there anything that I missed, or?
No, I think you've covered it.
Okay. Are there any questions, or?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago, you were in the red.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Steve, you were board president then, and we sat down and talked
Not my
about.
fault.
We sat down and talked about, it was something like 700 or 800,000 in the red, and now it's swung complete. I mean, is that 882,000? Is that really what your expenditures? Like, did you get too many payments or anything like that?
No, we didn't get all our payments.
Okay.
There's no secret.
So I mean, no.
So here's what the reality is. You have a strong school board. You have a supportive teachers union. You have administrators who are problem solvers. We have continued to try to cut expenditures while adding programs. It's tough. It's not easy. We've had a lot of meetings where we're not always happy because we don't have all the resources that we want to support our classrooms. And we still have some of the best outcomes academically in the entire region. And I'm very proud of that.
Let me say, it's not because of the 1% sales tax.
No.
Oh yeah, that's a good, no, that has nothing to
That
do.
had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
That will allow us to be
So-
better this year in terms of, and
So-
not only are we $882,000 better this year, we started 3 years ago with $12.6 million in debt.
Right.
We will have that down to $6 million at the end of this year. Am I correct on that, Jeremy?
I would need to go back and roughly check the.
That's those are roughly the
So that's the bonds for the new high school and any other outstanding
$6 million for the
bonds.
new high school.
Okay.
So your headline needs to be Paris 95, financial leaders, and academic achievers, or something like that. I don't know.
Send that along to me, Jeremy.
I'll work with you on it. We seriously work hard. I mean, I think about like Nick Roberts, he hasn't added money to his athletic budget, and we added cross-country, we added golf, he's working with the parents, having support from our parents. You know, it's our teachers union being supported. We just went almost the first entire quarter of school without a social worker in our elementary schools. That's tough. I mean, that's tough. There's a lot of people that had to pick up work during that time. And so, I'm just really proud that it all comes down to relationships, and we have relationships between the board, the teachers, the administration, our families, and that's what makes it possible. So, we're just hoping the paper's nice enough. I'm just
Like we're never not.
I'm teasing you. So at this time, I'm recommending the approval of the fiscal year 18 audit and the approval of the letter of engagement with Larson Woodward Henson for the remainder of the school year.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the FY 2018 and, letter of engagement for Larson Woodward Henson for the remainder of this school year. Any further questions or discussion? If not, please respond. Tuttle.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Isla.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Next is the tentative levy. The finance committee met this past month to review the tentative levy. I'm just recommending that we approve it, as we reviewed it at the finance committee. We're leaving it the same way that we've done it the past 3 years. It's just a tentative levy. We'll put a notice in the paper, and then we'll have our actual levy hearing at the next meeting.
So it's 25% again?
So, at this end, I want to be clear, the reason why we do that is because of the.
Get every dime,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And our tax rate has stayed the same in the last multiple years. At this time, I'm recommending the approval of the tentative levy.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second for, at this time, to recommend the approval of the tentative levy. Any other discussion, questions? If not, please respond. Tuttle.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Isla.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Next is Chad Stevens and Toby Wilson have submitted facility requests. I am asking the Board of Education to approve these requests. Additionally, I plan on working with these individuals, and the PHS teams that have requested access of our facilities to find a location and time so that the schools will not be impacted. So we're looking at the Willis Center is what we're looking at. Please go back there and look at it. Looks really sharp and clean right now. And so we're looking at being able to consolidate that all in one place so it's secure and everyone can get what they need. So at this time, I'm recommending the Board of Education approve the facility request.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to approve the facility request as listed. Any other discussion? If not, please respond. Tuttle.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Isla.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Okay, next is our first reading. The policy committee met to review policy 4150 and closes a copy of the policy as modified by the committee. This evening, I am recommending the first reading of this policy in an effort to clarify our district practice of memorials. Additionally, I'm asking the Board of Education to conduct a first reading of job descriptions. Input was sought throughout the district for input to job descriptions. No changes are being recommended. Job descriptions are posted publicly on our website for public review, which very few school districts do. So I'm proud that we put that on so people can identify this. The other thing that I would like to add is that I put a policy before you tonight on search and seizure, which is policy 7140. And I am asking to do a first reading on that. I would not traditionally do that without first going through a policy committee. This is an as-is from the Illinois Association of School Boards. I was asked by Bobby Mattingly to update this, our regional superintendent. The reason why is because we're going through a compliance review right now, and these are one of the documents. We have been going through our board policy manual, updating it as ISAB recommends. This is one that is from a past issue that she recommends we update in order to do our compliance review. So there are no modifications or changes from what press policy recommends. Search and seizure is in reference to if you have a student who has drugs on them or has a weapon on them, you have the right and ability to search them. The other thing the reason why it's modified is that there was a policy that came out for a while where you could actually do a search and seizure on a kid's Facebook account or social media account, which you can no longer do. And so that's what the deletion and modification is. Nor do I want to search my social media. So I would ask if the board wants to lay that one aside, I'm okay with it. If you want to conduct a first reading tonight of that, that's one that I would like to do just to get our ROE compliance inspection completed. But it's up to you guys. Right, so at this time, I'm recommending the Board of Education approve the first reading of the job descriptions, which are no changes. Policy 4150, which there was a modification in there for memorials, and policy 7140, search and seizure.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to approve the first reading of job description and policy 4150 and 7140, search and seizure. Any discussion? If not, please respond. Tuttle.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Idle.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Okay, next is employment. The position of middle school girls track coach has been posted for over half a year. This evening, I'm recommending Mike Brower for the position of girls track coach for the 2019 track season. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve Mike Brower as the girls track coach.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Mike Barhour as the junior high girls track coach. Any discussion or questions? If not, please respond. Tuttle.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Idle.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Okay, I'm going to go into informational items and then we're going to go into executive session. For informational items, I'd like to say that this past week we hosted the 3rd annual Edgar County Teacher Institute. This is a great opportunity for teachers to network and learn from one another. I want to say a special thank you to Carol Jones, Lorraine Bailey, and Mark Cox as they worked together to put that county institute together. So I think that was a great way to emphasize that we can work together as an entire county. I know Carol Jones put a lot of work in. Her and I were in early in the morning and late at night putting that together. So I think it's great just to be educational leaders of our county. This past week, the administrators went to speak with the Ministerial Alliance about the school system and look at different ways to partner together and just thank them for all their support. They are the ones who provide the backpack meals for the kids on the weekends. We did have a city proclamation this past month. The city of Paris presented a proclamation to our students for their Say to Hello weeks. This week was dedicated in honor of Sandy Hook as an opportunity to build relationships and promote social integration of all students. It was a wonderful week for our students, and we want to thank the city of Paris for allowing us to attend a city council meeting. I also want to make sure to thank Stephanie Schmidt, Marie Wimsett, Allison Worth, and Amy Hipschman for being the teachers who put that entirely together for the entire school district. Congratulations to Will Templeton for advancing to the state tournament for cross country. This is the second state tournament that Paris Union School District number 95 will participate in this year. We're very proud of Will Templeton's accomplishment, and that means Mrs. Carroll has one state tournament, Mr. Shea has one state tournament, and Mr. Don has a full day preschool program. The school musical will be coming up sooner than you realize, so this is a reminder that Mayo Middle School will be hosting a wonderful musical this upcoming winter. They will be performing Shrek. Please be watching for more information coming out soon. School nutrition, the Edgar County Health Department awarded Mayo Middle School the Silver Spoon Award. Congratulations to our cooks for their hard work. All kitchen inspections came back with excellent reviews. Additionally, ISB held a test audit with us regarding our program this year, and ISB representative stated that our program was in perfect order. Her name is Andrea Gregory with the Illinois State Board of Education. Anyone can feel free to give her a call. I'm very proud of that. Something else that I want to say is that our administrators in district held a community survey. So we asked for input from the community just to kind of get a feel for what some of their thoughts are. And I thought this was really interesting, so I want to share this. Are the top 3 priorities for community members of our schools. So this is what the community said are their top 3 priorities. Number 1, student achievement. Number 2, classroom instruction. And number 3, hiring, developing, and retaining the best staff. Those 3 all kind of hit me in my heart because what we do is we focus in on education. That is what we are. They had other options on there. They could have said they wanted to see us improve the facilities, add more special educate, or add more, not special, extracurricular programs. I'm talking about special ed all day long. Oh, we call it, add more extracurricular programs, enhance the athletic programs. There, they could worry about safety, security, technology. There were so many different things. They said their top 3 priorities that they really want to focus on are student achievement, classroom instruction, and hiring and developing and retaining the best staff, which is the heart of what we do. So that means that I feel like we have very similar values with our community. The top 3 strengths identified by community members of our schools. So again, they got to look and they got to say, what do I think the top 3 things that Paris 95 does best? Number 1, classroom instruction. They said that was one of the best things that we do. Number 2, student achievement. And number 3, diversity and inclusion of all students. And so I thought that, again, kind of hit me pretty hard, especially when we talk about Say the Hello Week. Really working on kids being inclusive and making sure that we're just a good school district for all kids. And what makes me happy is their top 3 priorities are the areas they said we're doing the best in. Except for there was one, and the one that they said that they think is an area for growth for District 95, and it's hard for everyone in the state of Illinois right now, is hiring, developing, and retaining the best staff. And I can think of 3 positions in our district right now where we have to have 4 positions in our district right now where we have to have long-term substitutes because there's a teacher shortage out there right now, and it's tough. And so that's one thing that we're going to continue to work on. I know Mr. Shea will be going to a university job fair here soon, and I know the other administrators have considered different options for really trying to get out there and recruit people. So, I mean, we have had meetings with people trying to help them obtain their license of an evening. And so that's one area that I think the entire state's kind of hurting on. Are there any questions about our community survey?
Do you think that you'd ever have to have a bonus to hire somebody, to attract somebody?
There are lots of different ways to recruit teachers. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I think that the best way to recruit teachers is to be a good, positive school district people want to work at. I want my teachers happy. I want them happy when they walk in the door. I want them to know that they're heard. I want them to feel safe. I want them to feel supported. I want them to get a pat on the back when they do a good job. And I think sometimes people might think that I tell people I appreciate them or pat them on the back a little too hard. But I think that it's important people recognize just how much I appreciate them because we are blessed to have a wonderful teachers union. And I'm telling you, I got 3 strong administrators. I got some of the best in the area. And so I just don't want to lose any of my administrators and I don't want to lose any of my teachers. It's tough. I mean that sincerely. We have a really good thing going right now in Paris 95. And a lot of that, and I'm going to say it too, and I know people think that I'm just blowing smoke. We had 31 committee meetings last year. 31. That's a lot of time out of my board members. That's not just 31 committee meetings, that's also, as they all know, me calling them relentlessly, texting them, going to their houses, problem solving, making the tough decisions to cut where we need to cut, while also at the same time saying, we're not going to let programs fail. And so we have excellent outcomes because of that. I mean, do I have any board members that want to say anything to that about where you feel like we are as a district?
I'm particularly interested in what you have to say about the turnaround in the finances. I mean, I think there are a lot of people in this community that were really concerned about what was going to happen with the school district financially. Maybe you don't have anything to say, but I think it would be interesting to hear.
Do you want me to answer that, or do you want the board members?
I thought maybe the
I'll
board.
let the board speak to that. So she asked a question, just where do you feel like we are financially, or where do you feel like we are as a school district?
Well, I think a lot of it is, I think we're finally getting our payments, aren't we?
Mhm.
And there for a while, you weren't sure what you were getting, you didn't know really how to budget, you weren't, transportation among other things, and you just instead of getting 4 payments, you were getting 3 or 2, and they'd tell you at the state, don't bank on that when you budget. And I think that's been a lot of, I think the states came through better with the money. I mean, that's where it all begins. You know, we've kept our expenses down. I think we've always tried, but when you're not getting the money, or you don't know when you're getting it, or you get it late, and I think sometimes they were getting payments after July 1st that you couldn't because of budget things.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I asked if
And
that
so
was,
that made it look, in some cases, probably worse than maybe it was. I don't know, maybe.
No, that's
I'm no money expert.
No, that's absolutely right. There are definitely more payments that we got last year than we had in prior years. They're still not 100% caught up. So for example, I just got my 4th categorical this year that was due last year. So they're not fully caught up in their payments, but they're 100% paying more frequently than they had in the past.
And I think you can kind of look around when one district or something seems to be in trouble, you're hearing it on the nightly news every night, and you don't seem to be hearing that as much, you know, so I think they're all happy they're getting what they should be getting.
Yeah.
I want to make a comment if you don't mind. You brought up transportation, and we all know that's a pretty big expense for any school district. How does the board feel they're sitting in transportation right now as far as being able to service the community in a timely manner, i.e. getting students to class on time, not having students on a bus for over an hour, that sort of thing?
Yeah. And does the board want to answer that, or do you want me to answer that?
I think it's better coming from you.
Yeah, it's better coming, because unless I wouldn't know.
Yeah, so I can speak. So, you asked how is the service? I think we have a great relationship with MSB. I enjoy working with Michelle and Scott. I think that our kids get to school timely. I think they're flexible when we want to work with them. I appreciate all that they do.
Okay, do you, what I think my bottom line question is do you feel that District 95 needs to add one more bus to their in-town routes?
Oh, I see.
I as a bus driver am inquiring because I can tell you, it is an extremely stressful job in the best of conditions.
Yeah.
It is 10 times more stressful when you have a 3-year-old on your bus that you are basically having to keep there for an hour because you're covering an entire portion of town by yourself, and the other bus is covering the other half.
Yeah.
So we've got 3-year-olds sitting on a bus for over an hour. On my PM route, I literally have kids on my bus for 2 hours. I don't complete my route until 4 o'clock. And these kids are all getting out at 2, you know?
So
So my concern is District 95 not able to approve a 3rd bus, or is it something that's MSB related?
I can talk to Michelle Ball about the conversation, what our current bus routes are, and look at if there's different opportunities for us to do some reconfiguration.
Yeah, I just worry about it. It's like I said, there's no reason to have little kids on a bus that long, you know?
Yeah, no, I understand that. And so what I'll say is I will follow up with Michelle Ball, and her and I will check into that.
I appreciate it. I mean, I came here because I am concerned about that, you know? I realize I'm moving from one district to another, so city is a little different than county.
Yeah.
But you run into the same principle across the board in both districts. Kids are on the bus an excessive amount of time because there's either no funding for the transportation to approve another route, or there's an issue with someone not wanting to pay for that. I don't know. All I know is me as a bus driver, I care about these kids. It's what I do. I don't make a boatload of money doing it,
Yeah.
you know? It's just one of those where I want to be able to get these kids home safely without having to worry about whether or not they're going to fall asleep on my bus or be overheated. You know, when it's 95 degrees outside with 105 heat index and you've got little kids on the bus, they look like little puddles climbing off your bus. They're completely heat ridden,
Yeah.
you know?
And so what I'll say to that is I will follow up with Michelle Ball. Anytime we talk about adding or eliminating services, it's always a touchy subject. I can tell you, I have, just as I might have people who wish for more buses, I also have people who wish for more classrooms.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so I know that I have, it's not just one grade level, I have other grade levels that would love to add additional classrooms. I can tell you that in transportation last year, we lost $46,947. So I can tell you that we are not surplusing or holding any type of money over in reserves for transportation. The state of Illinois gives you a set amount of money when it comes to transportation. They give you a set amount at the local level within there. I can tell you that what we're currently doing is we are bidding out transportation at this time, just to see if there's more just to see what our economics can be. And not that I'm 100% happy with the service that MSB provides me. I have a great relationship with them. But at the same time, I also have to look at it from just the point of
The
economics.
financial point of view, no.
And say, if my economics change or my finances change, does it allow me to provide additional funding for transportation in different ways? I'll give you another example, is I would love to have more after-school routes for kids, specifically for kids that are either sitting detentions, need extra time for tutoring. I would love to have after-school programs and morning programs for my kids to keep them off, from running the city. I mean, I could go on and on with all the things I could wish for.
Right, I understand. And I do know that, the co-op has a late shuttle for your AER students that are there for detention,
But you're saying,
'cause I occasionally run them.
just so I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that there are currently some preschoolers who are on a bus for 2 hours of an evening?
At a time, yes.
Okay, I'll follow up on that.
Because, you gotta think, it's not just preschool, it's creative center.
I understand that,
So, you're talking about the littlest of the kids we carry,
yeah.
and there's no good way to do it. Even on my route, the first thing I try to do is get off as many of those creative center kids as I can,
And I appreciate that.
you know?
The other thing that I'll say too is that, school district is not required to provide preschool transportation.
Right. no,
So the
okay.
state actually, most of the time, the grant funding for the preschool transportation doesn't come through. School districts are only obligated to provide kindergarten through 12th grade, transportation. So we try to do the best that we can, and if that's stretching our system, it's unfortunate, and it's something we'll try to work on. But it's also a service we're providing that we're not obligated to provide.
Right, unless they're 1.5 miles or further away.
No.
Or is it just not preschool at all?
So not preschool at all.
Okay, so that's
In
just an
fact-
extra expense.
In fact, just an interesting fact for everyone, District 95 is a charter school district, not a charter school. I want to be very careful about that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we're a charter school district, we're one of the originals. Our school district is actually not obligated to provide any transportation whatsoever to any student, regardless of hazard, regardless of miles. No, I wouldn't do that, but we really try to go above and beyond in what we provide.
Yeah, no, and I get what you're saying. I wasn't aware that you guys are required to do preschool.
No, I understand it. I really appreciate you coming and your concerns. I mean that very sincerely. I promise you I will follow up. I'll even ride the bus, because I've done it before. You can ask me.
Hey, you're welcome to come ride with us
I
any
know.
day.
And then, the other thing is I really try to let you guys know how much I do appreciate you, because I brought the biscuits and gravy
Hey,
that first
they
day.
were awesome. I'll be honest, they were awesome.
I know, thank you. And so I just think it's one of those things that, maybe I need to get more involved in transportation.
Yeah, I just, it's one of those where I know it is a high cost to any district. And it doesn't matter where you look across the US. You've got some, up in the Northeast that are literally looking at going to 4-day school
Yeah,
because they're trying to cut the transportation costs.
yeah.
But, I know we as bus drivers, every bus driver I work with, they care more about those kids than how much money they're making. They're not doing it because they're making, money hand over fist, because that's absolutely not the fact.
Yeah.
But we do it because we've watched these kids grow up. We've got bus drivers who have literally seen 4 generations go through their bus.
No, absolutely. As a school district, last year we spent $331,016 on transportation.
How much of that was extracurricular? Any idea?
I would have to go back and check.
See, I'm just talking about the basic services, the
Yeah.
in-town daily routes. I'm not even talking about the extracurricular, because I know that too, but.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned with the daily routes. Those are where my concern is as a bus driver, because if we're rushed or, we get behind, either Michelle's phone's going off or Scott's, going off, or some parent's calling you or Mr. Don, or, it's one of those where everybody hears about it because we got behind or because we chose to you know, take the extra moment and let that little kid who takes 5 minutes to cross front of the bus, you know. I mean, but it's just one of those things where we have to do our job safely and accurately.
Yeah.
And we can't do that if we are so stressed and strained out from being complained at or getting complaints, because we're doing our job, but we're apparently not doing it fast enough for someone somewhere, you know?
Well,
or
you're not getting
well-
any complaints from me, just thanks, so I.
Yeah,
appreciate
I'm
you.
just saying, I mean,
No,
I
I
know they
understand
roll
and I
it,
respect
yeah.
it. We're gonna continue on with our meeting, but I really do appreciate your thoughts and opinion, and I promise I will follow up with that.
Thank you.
Next, I would ask the board to move into executive session. We will have no action following. We are going into executive action to do my evaluation as well as to do a self-reflection of the board. So at this time, I move that the Board of Education hold a closed meeting in order to consider information regarding appointment, employment, or dismissal of any employee or officer.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to approve the executive session. Any questions or concerns? If not,